Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the South Haven City Council. Today is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. This meeting is called to order, and we will have a moment of silence. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Could we have a roll call, please, Megan?
Of course. Jeff Arnold.
Here.
Mary Hasley. Here. Wendy Onuki. Here. Joe Reeser.
Here.
George Sleeper.
Here.
Letitia Wilkins.
Here.
Annie Brown.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
It is approved. Moving on to community update. We have a proclamation for National Care at Home Month.
I need my microphone. City of South Haven, Michigan, Office of the Mayor, proclamation. Whereas for more than half a century, Care at Home has supported millions of patients nationwide, allowing them to recover from acute illness or injury, navigate activities in their daily lives, or spend their final months at home surrounded by loved ones, and
Whereas home-based care and support offer a person-centered approach to treatment, including expert medical care, quality symptom control, assistance with essential daily activities, and comprehensive pain management as a foundation of care. And
whereas beyond providing physical treatment, Care at Home improves the quality of life for patients by allowing them to remain where they'd most like to reside and continue to integrate with their communities. And
whereas in addition to helping patients, home care provides support, respite, and in some cases, counseling services to patients' families and loved ones. And
whereas in an increasing, fragmented, and difficult to navigate medical system, home care is one of the areas of healthcare that demonstrates how care can and should work at its best for its patients, offering a full continuum of services. And
whereas millions of Americans recovering from acute illness or injury or living with serious or life-limiting illnesses and their loved ones receive care from home health, hospice, and palliative care, home care, and Medicaid home and community-based service providers in communities throughout the United States each year. And
whereas home care organizations are advocates and educators about evidence care, advanced care planning that helps individuals make decisions about the care they want and empowers them to be the architects of their care plan. And
whereas the central philosophy of home care puts patients first, ensuring a coordinated and person-centered approach to care, protecting patient choice and access to individualized services based on the patient's unique care needs and wishes. And
whereas Care at Home is a valuable resource that should be available for all Americans, and whereas our local nonprofit hospice and palliative care providers, Corewell Health Hospice and Palliative Care of Southwest Michigan, formerly Caring Circle, has served the community for over 40 years.
now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Annie Brown, do hereby proclaim November 2025 as National Care at Home Month and encourage citizens to increase their understanding and awareness of home, hospice, and palliative care, discuss their health care wishes with their families, and observe this month with appropriate activities and programs. Do you want to make some comments before we present this to you?
Thank you for that. So this is National Care at Home Month, and I just wanted to say that our hospice has been in the community for 44 years, serving generations of people here. It's really a privilege to have a hospice in a community of this size, and I just wanted to remind people that we are a not-for-profit hospice, and as such, We will never turn a person away for inability to pay, and we care for people wherever they live, whether that be at their home, a nursing home, and we take care of people in jail, in a hotel, at a motel. So it's just a care that people are often afraid of asking about, and we just believe that it's the best care where people want to be, and the patient and their family are at the center of care, and we navigate around them to provide comfort and dignity.
And this is Angela LaBarca. We're going to take a picture with you. Next, Kate.
Yes, thank you. We have an introduction of our new Community Recreation Director, Chris Van Hecken. So Chris has been hired by South Haven Public Schools to fulfill the role of Community Recreation Director. That was one of the promises of the recreation millage that was passed last year. So Chris, if you'd like to come up to the podium and introduce yourself to the council and city. Face this way. Yep.
Thank you for having me. As Kate mentioned, my name is Chris Van Hecken. She asked me to do a little bit of a background or introduction on myself. So I was born and raised in Howell, Michigan. It's not too far from here, so I'm fairly familiar with the city of South Haven. Spent 20 years of my life in the city of Grand Haven. The last 7 years as the Community Recreation Director, City Recreation Director for the city of Grand Haven. When this job popped open, when I saw it last
Chris,
spring.
would you move your microphone up?
Sorry.
That's okay. It's
Is that better?
adjustable.
Is that better? All right. So when this position came up, I noticed last spring, I was very interested, one, because of the possibilities, and two, because of how beautiful the community is and the park space that you have here along the beach, along the water of the beach. My goals in the first year, I started just after Labor Day. My goals are to take time to meet with community leaders and community members, families that not only participate in recreation right now, but want to participate in recreation. Our goals are to make our programs inclusive, that all people, youth and adults, will feel welcome. We're starting to implement programming right now. We just started our first program. We have our middle school girls playing in a basketball league down in Holland, and we'll do the same for the boys in the winter when that season starts. We're also in the process of developing a centralized website and hub that will help families in the community that for their children, if they want to play Little League Baseball, Rocket Football, swimming, or wrestling, they'll have one landing spot. We're not looking to take over those organizations, but we're looking to help families be able to find that information in a quicker, easier way, and then hopefully be able to get the information that they need to make decisions on registration and getting schedules and things like that. So that's one of the big projects that we've been working on for the first few weeks. Our goal is to have that up by the end of November, so that we'll be ready to go for winter, spring, and summer programming. The other part of my job is working in the parks area. So right now we just broke ground on the Riverwoods down Blue Star. There's literally excavators bulldozing trees and dirt on there right now on that property. And so that will become, it's 50 acres that the Shara bought from the DNR about 2 weeks ago. That was closed on. And that will become, they'll have usage for a dog park. That's one of the goals in that area. Also pickleball courts. There's a 1 mile walking trail that also can be used as a bike trail. And those are our goals to have that open by next summer. The other goal of mine is to facilitate and continue to connect the city and the city leaders and the Parks Department with the schools. So working on the different green spaces and parks that we have, how can we use some of those spaces, not necessarily differently, but how can we use them better? How can we get more people involved in recreation in our community? So right now I'm working with the Junior Youth League, the Rocket League, the Rams Aquatic, and My Way, varsity coaches, and all the principals of the school to imagine what recreation could look like in their schools, in their school buildings, and on their property, not only during the school year, but during the summer months as well. So I think that's all I have, Kate. All right. Thank you.
Oh, do you have
Your
a
question?
question?
All right.
Wendy?
One question. All right.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
And talking about this and for joining our community. I think it's important. Do you have like a wider view of recreation beyond sports? Like, I know we kind of talked about that as a council, like, other opportunities, including cultural recreation. Are you exploring those options?
Yes, and thank you for asking that. One of the projects we're working on right now is looking at how we can expand different summer camps and after-school camps, especially or more specifically with the arts in our community.
Okay.
And so arts can look a lot of different ways, but we're working, I'm actually meeting with them tomorrow to talk about some programs that we can start to initiate and what that would look like for our children. So arts is a big passion of mine. It's a big program, or it could be potentially a big program here in the city of South Haven. So hopefully that answers
Yeah.
your question.
Yeah, that does. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Erie?
And I know also arts in Alkenburg Park were coordinated also with the Liberty Hyde Bailey Museum. Are you looking at those types of collaborations also? With with the arts and nature, they make a good combination for the kids outside.
No, that's a great idea. I haven't looked at that yet. That doesn't mean that we're not going to or willing to, but right now we're looking at using space at one of our elementary schools that has 10 acres as a potential summer camp that has 10 acres of outdoor learning space, and they have 3 different learning classroom centers outside in that wooded area out at Maple Grove. And so we're working on looking at putting some programming there. I'm working with the Van Buren ISD right now on securing some funding for that.
One nice thing with it in Alkenburg and at Liberty Hyde Bailey is it's within walking distance for a lot of families, so if transportation is an issue, that's not an impediment, so.
Great, thank you. Yes.
First, I want to say, excuse me, welcome to South Haven.
Thank you.
And second, I want to say, are you looking for any community input when it comes to the parks?
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to have like maybe a meeting or something? Or
So far, I've met with a lot of school leaders and some city officials and township officials as well. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of trying to learn who goes where right now with everything. But I would be more than welcome to meet with any one of you and anyone that you feel I should be meeting with. I'm more than happy to meet with those people. So feel free to reach out to me, and I will reach out to you. And I would love to meet and talk about those. Because our park space here, we have beautiful parks, and we have beautiful parks all around this area. And my goal as the director is just basically to try to connect families and people to those parks, whether that's me overseeing the program or me helping another organization or business oversee that program. That's really what my goal is. So,
okay.
Joe?
I want to thank you for what you've done already. I met you, I think, maybe your first week on the job.
I think it was the third
And
day.
I was impressed about a couple things. First, you said one of your passions is to help children that are less privileged to get them in sports. And I think we all know that if we can get kids involved at a very young age and get them involved in something, especially sports, it helps them through their whole life. And I remember Bishop Wilkins was at the meeting with us, and he was extremely impressed with you, and he could relate to all the things that used to happen years ago that you said you're going to try to bring back, and I don't know all of them, but I was impressed that the two of you seemed to hit it off immediately. I've talked to people at Shara, and I've even talked to people in the pickleball club, and they're all very impressed with you, and we're all waiting for you to start to play pickleball with us.
Well, I did something to my ankle last week, Friday, playing pickleball, but I'm anxious to play with them as
But I
well,
want to
so,
thank
yeah.
you. We really need this in the community, and this, we're hoping, if we could bring all of this together, it'll attract people to our community, because we need more young people. We need young families to come to this community. And as people have told me, sports can do that. So I'm really appreciative of what you're doing. Thanks.
Thank you. And lastly, to Ms. Wilkins' point, if any of you have ideas or people or want to meet yourself, please reach out to me. And I say that very sincerely. Please reach out. I'd love to meet and talk through your ideas. So thank you.
Is your email cvanhecken@shps.org?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Moving on to public comment for items on the agenda, excluding items scheduled for public hearing, and you have up to 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Tom Capps, 235 Bailey Avenue here in South Haven. And I just want to talk a little bit about housing. That's on the agenda tonight. I hope I don't steal anybody's thunder, so I'm going to try to be brief in each aspect of that. First, I'd like to steal a little commentary from George Sleeper, who several council meetings ago, when we talked about housing and what we can do, and he started to talk a little bit that the city councils can't control labor, they can't control lumber cost, and probably not property cost either. But what a city council can do is make it comfortable and know that new developers coming in can work with us. We could designate areas that we might expand housing in. The city council can also change some zoning ordinances and other things to make it easier to expand the housing in areas that we do have available. So thank you, George, for your input there. I think that was good information. Also wanted to bring up today, I was at the dwelling place meeting that they had at the church. We like to thank Mrs. Wilkins and her husband for the use of their church. It was very informative. There were other council members there and wannabe council members, so it was nice to see people there. I think Dwelling Place is a good outfit. They have a plan. Right now it's a tentative plan, but they do want community input, and they encourage people to get a hold of their council members or get on the websites that will be available at the city. If there's anything that they would like in there, if it's biking or pickleball courts, and that might get along with our recreation guy also. So anyway, I want to thank those guys. Now, we know housing is a big issue, and it's all over the country, that everybody needs housing. So South Haven is not alone in that. But I want to just give a couple examples what other communities are doing. Not that all of them apply for what we may look for.
You have 1 minute.
Okay. Some of it, like Bloomington, Illinois, they passed some reforms for AUDs and houses and row homes that could be owned to make housing more affordable. St. Joe just passed some legislation that they're going to do to change some ordinances so they can build taller on a brownfield site, probably a $52 million project. Also, the city of Battle Creek put together a community action plan where they got developers and builders and council members and city residents to come up with a plan. And I think those are all things that we could look at. Last but not least, we've been looking for a long time for a plan, and I just have to say that we have Dave Flack here, who's going to be a council member, has a 91-page plan for South Haven that he put a lot of work to. If you haven't read it, get it. He's put,
Your time is up.
thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, we're going to move ahead to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve consent agendas A, B, and C?
I move to approve consent agenda items A through C.
A second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
We have to do
Oh,
a
I'm
roll call.
sorry. Consent, been doing so well. You need a roll call?
Arnold,
Yes.
Hasley,
Yes.
Onuki,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
and Brown.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to new business, the city council will be asked to receive the Downtown Development Authority informational meeting presentation. Kate?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have our DDA Director, Suzanne Brock, here. She did put together a slideshow on the DDA's informational meeting presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Well, I want to thank Mayor and the City Council members for accepting this informational meeting presentation to you. I thought it would be a good idea tonight to really kind of take a step backwards a little bit and explain to you a little bit about the Public Act 57 of 2018 and to let you know a little bit about the DDA and how it operates and how we collect the funds that we used for our projects. So some of this may be new to you and some of it may be just repetitious information that you've heard before. But to explain the Public Act 57, this allows a governing body of a city, village, or township to create a downtown development authority that serves as the catalyst in the development of the community's downtown district. The purpose of the act is to halt property value deterioration, to eliminate the causes of the deterioration, and to increase property tax valuation, and to promote the growth in the business district through the collection of tax increment revenues. Specifically, the Act allows the tax increment financing, which we call TIF, and millage revenues to be used for any public facility. The power and the authority of the Act cannot be used for personal benefit of a private person or corporation. Part of this act, the downtown development, is required to hold 2 informational meetings annually. Informational meetings are meetings held for the purpose of informing the public of the goals and the directions of the authority, including projects to be undertaken in the coming year. These informational meetings are not for the purpose of voting on policy, budgets, or other operational matters. The informational meetings may be held in conjunction with other public meetings of the authority or municipality. So tonight is the first meeting. The second meeting will be held on Wednesday's DDA meeting. So the DDA provides a variety of funding options, including tax increment financing mechanism, which can be used to fund public improvements in the downtown district. Tax increment finance is an incremental growth in property tax revenue over a set of time. So I'm going to give you kind of like a little bit of a rough example of that. So let's say there's a property that's worth $1 million. That's their set valuation. And then the following year, it was valued at $1,250,000. That $250,000 growth will then be part of that TIF money. Now, there are exceptions to that rule, of course. We have our brownfield and our commercial properties that we want to enhance, right? I forget what the title of that is. But those are some of the exceptions that we have. Plus, we do not capture the state school tax. So those are some. But just to give you that kind of rough idea of that growth period that we're capturing. And that money that we're capturing now is going to be put back into that downtown district that we've designated. So that could be roads, that could be projects, that could be electrical, which I'll talk about as I move through this. The goals and the direction of the South Haven DDA are defined by this tax increment, which we call TIF, and development plan, first created in 1980 and amended in 2000. So we are really governed by this developmental plan that we had set when we were created. The link to this is, I did put the website up there, but you can easily access this on our website, and this will detail the exact developmental plan and the TIF financing. I've also included on here, because I talk about the downtown development area, the district, and so it's really hard to see on this map, but this is also located on our website. But anything in that brown area is where we collect those TIF funds from. So that I just wanted you to kind of visually see that area that we're capturing those funds. I think it's really important, too, to understand what the DDA mission statement is. The City of South Haven Downtown Development Authority, better known as the DDA, is to be the leader in helping to fulfill the City of South Haven municipal plan through planning, funding, and development of projects within the DDA district, which promote, encourage, and contribute to the overall economic growth and development of the community. The next slide. As you see, these are our members. We have 9 board members that sit on the DDA, and I just want to do a great big shout out to all of them, because I feel that this DDA board, since the time that I've been here with the city, they are so cognizant and good stewards of the funds that they collect, and really of how they want to spend the money to reinvest in that downtown area. So I am so honored to be working with them. So I had mentioned earlier that we are really kind of governed, or how we spend our money, through this developmental plan that it was created. But every year the DDA sets a workshop, and we create a priority list. And it really is in a line with this developmental plan, but it's going to be focusing on certain things as we go along. So in 2025, this was the list that was up there. So we usually have 4 priorities. We set our priorities kind of like the city council sets their priorities, and we rank them from high to low as far as, what do we think we can accomplish with the funds that we have on hand, or that we can, maybe receive. So one of the top, or the highest priority that we've been talking about for, I'd say, over a year almost, is the Huron Street Pavilion improvements. So this board also just didn't want a one-liner to say this is what we want to do. We wanted to break it down. So if you'll see on the notes, they really kind of wanted to break it down in bullet points about what they can accomplish and what they are accomplishing moving forward. So in that pavilion area, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but we did a whole bunch of electrical upgrades. So if you were down there at the farm market, you might have seen that on the pillars, because in the past, if a farm market vendor or a food truck was to plug in, it probably would blow the whole system. So we knew that in order to grow that area and to utilize it, we needed to improve that electrical piece of it. So we went ahead and moved forward on that. But we also know that this pavilion is really like, it is part of our developmental plan, and it is kind of like this hub that we have when you think of our festivals, our farm market, our ice rink, our year-round activities that happen in there. And one of the year-round activities that we have is our ice rink. And we've been talking about this, I'd say, for a couple years. We know that every year we cross our fingers and hope that what we have now will work, because they roll out the coils and they are split and they have to be repaired, and we have to bring in much gravel, and it's very costly to set up and to maintain this ice rink. So we knew that this was going to have to be repaired. And so moving forward, there was a lot of discussion on what can we do to make it better. And how can we also improve the ground underneath the pavilion? Because it has a lip to it that's cracking, it's very hazardous. So that's why they made this a top priority. And through this presentation, or if you've ever heard Four Seasons Pavilion, it's because this pavilion is really through all 4 seasons. And when we had to go for a grant, when we were working on this, we were labeling it because it is used all year long. We also have downtown district beautification, so we know that we need to keep our downtown very vibrant. It really is, like I said, that catalyst for economic development. People come. We have to make sure that it is inviting and businesses want to join us, businesses who give employment to people as well. So some of the things that they're working on is waste management. We're really thinking about one of the things that they're contemplating is about like recycling or cardboard disposals, trying to create all the waste that might be flowing on those windy days. One thing that they would like to focus on as well is the wayfinding signs. I know that I've heard from people that they can't find anything because the signs are, you know, older and they're dark, and so we really want to kind of look on improving that as well. And then, of course, Dyckman Park, which is near the ice rink, and it's also expanded out to our social district. We have our brand new fireplace, so that's a great gathering spot for us. Broad Street streetscape improvements, that is the Broad Street corridor. We want to make sure that we can connect that. Of course, that is a big project, and we really are looking for any grant money that we can move forward on that one. And as always, it's the improvement to parking and construction of parking. So we are forever looking on opportunities to increase our parking, that whether it's we're fixing the parking lots that we have now, we've looked into building it, we've had some discussion about that, but right now our focus is on repairing what we already have. So not only do we fund some of the projects that we have in the downtown area or you know, in that central business district, we also do have some debt service funds for other projects that we have helped fund. And this is just a list of some of the projects that we have here. A couple of them will be ending in 2027, so that will be great. That will release some of the funds that we already spent on. So to recap, 2025, some of the projects that we have worked on that we've already kind of funded is the resurfacing of William Street parking lot. I don't know if you've noticed that down on William Street. We funded that project. Also, if you've been downtown, you're seeing the sidewalks being repaired. We're funding that as well. We've had a couple tripping hazards that we want to take care of that as well. We've also done electrical improvements and repairs throughout the central business district. So down at Water Street where the flags are at, also here at the Circle, over by Stanley Johnson Park. We needed to upgrade those. We got information, so we worked on that, and we were able to fund those projects. And then, of course, the electrical upgrades of Huron Street Pavilion, which I've already spoke about. So the DDA also participates in partnership projects through the city. So as far as the fireplace at Dyckman Park, we took on the responsibility of paying for the gas, I guess, for the fireplace. So we went ahead and fund that bill. And Social District, we take care of all the labels and the signage that are part of that social district. Our annual holiday lighting, we light the pavilion, and we also work with Visit South Haven to light the downtown area. And of course, our beautiful flower beds and landscaping. We get many compliments on that, so we fund that project as well. And then one thing, this past year, maybe this was our second year, the city has taken over managing the ice rink, And we come to find out that it's beneficial for us to have that done because we can reduce some of the cost of what it costs to manage that or run that ice rink. But one of the things they had done in the past was we had a fund that would donate free school skate days for the students, and we no longer receive that fund anymore. So the DDA decided that we want to continue that because we want to give this opportunity to our students and surrounding schools. So we continue that, and we fund all those free skate days. So I think last year it might have been a little over 1,500 students that came out to skate. We work with the schools, so they're able to come out and skate. It's at no cost for them, so they don't pay the $6 rental or the $6 admission fee. So we're pretty proud of that because I feel like that's a way also we're giving back to the community. So some of the future capital improvement projects that we're looking at moving forward, of course, is the Huron Street project, which you've seen a lot of that construction going on. It was funded by a grant. However, there are some things that the grant is not taking care of, and that's the sidewalk, that's the bump outs, because the DDA was concerned. We have business owners that are on the DDA that when people would cross over from the hardware store, there's no sidewalk, it's very unsafe. So they wanted to put a crosswalk in there, they wanted to put sidewalk in there, and also the lighting. We want to bring Huron Street into the downtown district because it is part of the downtown district, but once you move off of Center and Phoenix, you kind of get lost. So we really want to bring that connection there. And then again, the Four Seasons Pavilion Improvement Project. I named it this because this is what we did when we applied for the grant, but it is really resurfacing that area and the whole ice rink reconstruction. And then resurfacing Eagle Street and Quaker Street parking lots. Like I said, it's something that we're going to be looking at. Also Dykeman Park, that parking lot there by the pavilion, we're looking to have that resurfaced in that whole project. And improve wayfinding signs. We really want to accomplish that in the next year. And then one thing the DDA is looking at, I'm not sure if it will be accomplished, but we did put a survey out to our local businesses. We would like to have maybe a couple centralized cardboard recycling locations for businesses because in their high traffic times, there's a lot of cardboard. It can blow out, and so we really want to keep our city beautiful. And if we can offer that, because like I said, the TIF money that we capture is in that downtown district, so we want to be able to maybe offer something back to them. So the city is a RRC, which is a redevelopment ready community, and because it is RRC community, the DDA is able to help facilitate grant money to help our local businesses. So this slide just shows you that since 2021, we were able to receive $154,835.80 in grant money that went to the local businesses. These are the businesses that were able to participate in that. So on behalf of the DDA facilitates that. It gets deposited into our funds, and then we reimburse the businesses. To be a vibrant and competitive community, the DDA does support all new investment and reinvestment in the downtown district. So out of the 28 ribbon cuttings that were held to date, 5 of them did come from the downtown district. And I do want to make a correction on that because I just went to a ribbon cutting today, which is our My Town Hardware. So if you haven't seen it, it's the Old Ace Hardware over there. So we have a new owner. He's revamped the area. It's beautiful. Encourage everybody to go visit and take advantage of that. So really, it's 6 now out of the 29. The next slide really just shows some future business and development. So this is, some of these projects are from, you would probably remember from last year. As we know, it does take a while to start and finish a project. So when we think of the NNR redevelopment, the downtown, if you think of the old business, the old NNR business now has been transformed into 2 different businesses on the ground level and a proposed housing for 2 to 3 units in the upper level. And then, of course, we have the Locker redevelopment project, which I believe just received an extension from council that we can give them an extension to continue their project. The future building, that empty lot is the future building of the Visit South Haven, and I've heard that they're almost ready to get started planning for this, which will be great for them as well, especially on that corner. And then the Huron Street development, I talked a little bit about that, bringing that connectiveness of Huron Street into the downtown district. And then lastly, the Four Seasons redevelopment project / ice rink. The ice rink is part of that project. It's probably one of the main things that we are funding, but all of it kind of rolls into it, from the surface area to the electric to the bearing of the coils underneath. So in closure, I just want to say it's the Downtown Development Authority's ambition to build value in the community for the benefit of the community. Projects will be financed through the tax increment financing, better known as TIF, and will proceed with or initiated as monies are available and the budget allows. And like I said, the DDA board really does make a conscious effort of looking at the CIP. We work closely with the Department of Public Works and the city to see any upcoming future projects that we may also be held responsible to according to our developmental plan. And then from there, we work on what our goals are and what we want to see, what monies. We weigh out everything. So like I said, they're a great board to work with, and they really make sure that every money captured is spent in the right way.
Any questions? Mary?
So I was excited to read about the potential cardboard recycling. That is one thing that I've heard is a problem, because the stores don't have a place to store it. There's not an on-site recycling opportunity, so that's absolutely fantastic, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I think they were looking at a couple. We were just weighing out cost and, what would be utilized. So I just recently, I sent out a survey electronically and hard copy, because not everybody reads their emails, just to gather some information from the downtown businesses, just to see would they utilize it, where do they think they would like to have it, just to get the information, which I will be presenting this Wednesday to the board.
And then one other thing that I heard was, I know parking is problematic, especially in the summer when it's premium, but in the off-season, so kind of overlapping with the no overnight parking, November 15th to March 15th. Do you think the DDA might entertain surveying, getting input from merchants about suspending the 3-hour limit so that people may feel more inclined to dine and then go shop and not worry about a ticket, being there more than 3 hours when parking, usually there's ample parking?
You mean in the downtown district to
Right.
remove that 3-hour parking limit?
Just the November to March timeframe.
Oh, okay.
To suspend it.
We don't really do a lot of enforcement of the 3-hour beyond that, because our parking enforcement are pretty much done by end of September, I should say end of October.
Well,
So unless that's an officer that's giving that ticket, usually it was called in for a complaint, but
Well, I've heard sporadic, and so rather than ignoring laws, it would be nice to have consistency, so that people would know whether they could or should not stay for more than 3 hours. I think it would just be more welcoming and more transparent.
Well, that's a good point. I will definitely share that with the DDA.
Anything to keep people downtown.
Yeah. That's why we want to make it a very vibrant community there.
Yes, thanks.
Any other questions? I just want to thank you, Sue, for all your work. You do a great job, and you're a good steward of the TIF funds, and we really appreciate your hard work. So
Well, thank you so much.
just looking at this report, I can tell how successful you have been with your leadership for the DDA, so thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I really put a lot on that board. They are an outstanding group of individuals. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, the city council will be asked to approve resolution 2025-36, a resolution to declare intent to issue bonds and to publish notice of intent to issue bonds for the ice rink improvement project. Kate?
Thank you, Mayor. As Sue kind of talked through a very exhaustive presentation about what the DDA is working on, the ice rink fixes that are needed at the Huron Street Pavilion has been on their project plan for some time. I do know that last fall, they did try to go for the RAP 2.0 grant, but we were beaten out by another grant in our region. So unfortunately, we made a nice big ask, and that was not successful. The DDA has been recognizing that something has to be done with the ice rink. Every year we haul in many yards of gravel, make a bed, and then, as Sue said, we put out all these coils, and we have to make sure that there's no gaps in them or there's no breaks, and that takes time. What the DDA has done is they've gotten a feasibility study done for redoing the pavilion underneath so that we can encapsulate the chilling coils within concrete. And then we would no longer have to bring in all these yards of gravel that we have to bring in and then take away. So this would all be within a closed system. We've already upgraded the chiller. So this would be encapsulating all this within the DDA, within the concrete underneath the pavilion. The DDA has already taken on upgrading the electrics. That portion has already been done. So we have reached out to our bond counsel at Dickinson Wright, as well as with our financial consultants at MFCI. They were recommending that we publish an intent to bond for 2.6 up to 2.6. We are not obligated to borrow that much, but we do know that there are increasing costs. As the DDA has been planning this project, the costs have been steadily going up. So we want to make sure that we don't have to run a new 45-day notice of intent. That's why we have it up to $2.6 million. This would run in the paper, and it would be out there for 45 days. I've heard there's some question, why doesn't the DDA do the bonding itself? We have routinely done bonding by the city where the DDA covers the debt service. That's something we have done with many other projects on Center Street, on William Street, and I believe even on Phoenix Street. So this is a pretty common practice for us. We've been looking at the revenues with the finance director. The revenues are coming in higher than expenditures, so the DDA TIF capture can cover this debt service. Are there any questions for me or Sue?
Mary?
Yep. Yes, so in the resolution, it indicates that the funds would be coming from not just DDA, but also our general fund.
That's correct, because that's technically correct. If for some reason the TIF funds are not enough, then as a general obligation bond, that would obligate the city to cover that. Now, the DDA has never not paid their debt service, and we have taken out multiple loans, multiple bonds, and the DDA has covered those payments easily.
So I'm just,
It can't be a general obligation bond if it's not a general obligation bond.
correct, but there's no obligation that it has to be from the DDA, that it would be a fallback to the city.
It has to be. I mean, that's what bond counsel has explained, is that it's a general obligation bond taken out by this entity, and that another entity, the DDA, will be covering the debt service using their TIF capture. And for some reason, if the TIF capture isn't enough, like I said, the general obligation falls back on the entity that borrowed the money.
Okay.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve resolution 2025-36?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-36, resolution to declare intent to issue bonds and to publish notice of intent to issue bonds for the ice rink improvement project.
I'll second it.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on. The city council will be asked to approve an agreement with Captain Megan Cairns of the MJ Tall Ship for wintering with the City of South Haven Municipal Marina in the sum of $1,500 and allow staff to execute all necessary documents. Kate.
Thank you. I was approached by Megan, who has been a local here. She actually was the former captain of the Friends Goodwill. She is now running her own tour tall ship, and when she winters it, well, she has a slip in St. Joseph. She had asked to see if we were open to her wintering it up in our municipal marina, and typically we do not. We typically have all of our boats out by October 15th, but we have had other boats stay in over the winter. She has a tall ship, so we'll be staying in. She has looked into this. We've settled on a price of $1,500. This would cover any kind of electricity that's used on the site. We're not staffed for anyone to go out there and check the boat, and she's very aware of that. But this would be we're calling it a pilot program because we really haven't done this before. So we're looking into seeing whether or not this is something we'd be interested in doing. So the Harbor Commission has reviewed this. I think, Jeff, you were on the Harbor Commission. So this is a trial for us for this year to see if this works out for both her and, of course, the city, and see if this is something going forward before we can have additional revenue. Megan is here in case we have any questions. Michael, is there anything you want to add?
No, I think you did a great synopsis there, Kate. And again, this is an information, if approved, this information gathered will help evaluate future opportunities for the marina to accommodate additional vessels. So this agreement is solely with Captain Megan Cairns.
As we discussed on the Harbor Commission, the thought was just because Megan lives here, she wants to have her ship here, so she can check on it herself. The city's not going to do anything, but she can just stop by, look at it, not have to go all the way to St. Joe.
That's
know
correct.
her boat's okay.
That's correct.
Any questions? George.
Which marina would it be berthed at? The
North side.
North side? Okay.
Any other questions? Mary?
Yes, so the Harbor Commission notes indicate there was much discussion, but the minutes are sparse. So what about shoveling, not being able to go on the area without cleats if the dock is slippery? Because the lease seems like it's more summer related, and you've just simply put it into a seasonal for the pilot. But the terms were more reflective of what one would see in the summer, because if there's a problem, the ship would have to be moved, and that's really not going to happen here. And if she wants to go on and check it, will she be able to wear cleats?
Cleats?
Because some of the terms in the lease said you could not wear cleats on the dock. And if it's slippery, I hope she does wear cleats, and I hope there's not an issue with that. It's just, there were some common sense things that when I read through it, being an outdoor sports person and knowing of different equipment to use for safety so you don't slip and fall, seemed prohibited by the draft lease that was presented. Maybe Megan
Well,
could-
I'm sure she can come on up here and ask, but we're not offering to shovel that. We pretty much have access to the building for the staff that work there. If for some reason we're having a meeting, we do more snow removal, but frankly, this is kind of the deal, is that this is not a full price slip. We're not giving her all the amenities that a summer rental would have. There's not going to be, it's not like there's Wi-Fi and the clubhouse open with the bathrooms there and the laundromat open. So this is a really scaled down effect so that she can have some peace of mind with this boat being nearby rather than 30 minutes away. And I believe in talking with her, I think she's very aware of what the conditions are on a dock, as she has a tall ship, but she knows that's going to have some aspects. As for no cleats, we have a very specialized kind of decking system, so we don't want to see that damaged. So whether it's cleats or not, or she has a shovel or whatnot, we can work through that, but I really don't want to see the decking damaged.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the agreement with Captain Megan Cairns?
I move to approve the agreement with Captain Megan Cairns for the MJ Tall Ship for the wintering with the City of South Haven Municipal Marina in the sum of $1,500, and allow staff to execute all necessary documents.
Second.
All in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? Okay. Did you have another question?
I was just going to add to the motion to make any typographical errors that have appeared in the agreement.
Well, we already approved this motion, so.
Well,
you're-
I was trying to make it before you called the question.
Moving on, the city council will be asked to receive a presentation on housing development initiatives by Assistant City Manager Michael Landis. Go ahead.
First of all, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I appreciate you having me out here this evening. So housing incentives here in South Haven, we're really taking what will be a multifaceted approach. I'm going to give Kate a moment to get it up on the screen so everyone can see it.
You can start talking if you want.
I'll start on slide 2.
Okay, very good.
So increasing housing through multifaceted approaches, really, I have it summed up in 4 boxes, but it does go much further than that as it relates to actual development. But the first one I've put down is the identification of infill and development possibilities throughout the city. So what does that mean? We want to create a list of undeveloped properties with upfront information to allow us to present that to prospective developers and show us as a development-ready community. Another item is looking forward to the future and having a reference document for that. So as part of our economic development strategic plan, a housing strategy is being included. This strategy will be linked to the overall development region-wide, as South Haven is really a large area that we service, even though our boundaries are only a few square miles. The City of South Haven continues to engage and foster relationships with financing agencies, such as the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. And finally, we have to continue to utilize new and existing incentives and tools while supporting the ongoing development in our community today. So the first one we started to look at was, where is the infill opportunities here in the City of South Haven? We have about 275 parcels, or 191 acres, that is pretty well scattered throughout the community that could be utilized for vacant residential development. But the city does not own all of this property. So what do we have to do? We have to work locally. City staff are collaborating with local property owners and strategically identifying parcels to promote prime opportunities for housing development. That may mean water and sewer hookups, that may mean proper zoning, that may mean areas that we can offer other incentives to develop. So the city is assisting these property owners through use of these items, such as our EPA assessment grant. This helps us determine site conditions for environmental factors and provides critical knowledge on redevelopment pathways at no cost to the landowner. That is something that landowners here in the city can apply to, starting that process by sending me an email. Continuing with that engagement element, the city has contacts with 19 area developers who work at promoting South Haven as a welcoming community to all forms of housing. We have to approach this in a way that we bring all types of housing to the community, because we're selling this community not only to the people who really want to live here and maybe doesn't make a whole lot of money, but also the people who are very well off. So of those vacant parcels that you've seen, the city staff is inviting those property owners to come in and speak with us. So we can help make connections to the professional network of developers throughout our region to help promote those development pathways. So continuing to work together to promote the development, what has the city done so far this year? Well, there's 3 main things that are really sticking out. And the first one was the city worked to amend our 425 agreement when opportunities for housing development came to South Haven Township. I'll talk about more of that in a moment. The city has also extended the life of the planned unit development on the Hales property to allow the developer additional time to get that development underway. And finally, the City Brownfield Redevelopment Authority considers housing a top priority and has approved a housing TIF at 432 Phoenix. So housing in and of itself is now an eligible activity use for Brownfield TIF dollars. So that means that if someone would like to develop a property, or add housing to a property, there's brownfield monies associated or can be associated with that project. Environmental contamination does not necessarily have to be a factor. Continuing, the city has started the public engagement sessions with the dwelling place of Grand Rapids, and these sessions are on the Overton development. As you recall, the city put out a request for proposals, and council agreed to engage with the dwelling place to work on the Overton lot for an affordable housing development. The first two sessions have concluded. The first one was on October 20th, and the second one is today on November 3rd. And the final session will be the 17th at noon and 5 p.m. at the Resurrection Life Ministries Church at 322 Elkenberg Street. Again, staff are actively working with their team to help promote and meet the city deadlines, as well as the Michigan State Housing Development Authority deadlines for their application for funding. Continuing on with the Overton development, the proposed development is a multi-family apartment complex that will have approximately 53 units, and these units will service residents who are 30 to 80% the area median income. I'll tell you more about what that means in just a moment. There are approximately 10 duplexes that are also slated to be on the site, or 20 total units. Again, really targeting that missing middle housing at that 80 to 120% AMI. And lastly, 2 single-family homes are being proposed on the site for home ownership. So I use the term Aryan median income as a reference. So in the county of Van Buren, the Aryan median income is set by the state of Michigan. And I'm going to use 4 persons as the example here, and this is a changing document that is changed by the state of Michigan every year on income thresholds. So what is 30% Aryan median income for a 4-person household? It is $26,070. That's the low end of the threshold at 30%. At the 80% Aryan median income threshold, that is $69,520. At the 120%, that's $104,280. So in between those capacities is where this housing development can best service people looking to get homes here in the city of South Haven. Continuing on, we have to look to our neighbors. South Haven really is a region, and the township is part of the solution. The township has been working on with multiple developers who have plans for construction in 4 different areas. Currently, the Sunset Grove is set to be on M140 Highway and is going to be an affordable senior living apartment. This is one of the elements that council is so gung-ho about getting done, because this is what we amended our 425 agreement to help accommodate. So this is a proposed 42-unit building, and they are currently looking to apply for Michigan State Housing Development Authority funding. The Soha Drift Lofts is off of 73rd and a half Street, and these are going to be market rate barn dominiums. And what does that mean? It means parking below and living quarters above 2 separate floors, and they're looking at 45 units. So this 11-acre site is going to be for sale for property owners coming in at the market rate. The Lighthouse Ridge Apartments is a proposed development on 73rd Street. It's a 2-story apartment complex with 52 units, and they are getting their final site plan review done by the township this December for this MISHDA-funded project. And finally, the Eagle Winds Apartment Townhomes. This is off of County Road 388 and is up to 100 units and currently looking at a MISHDA reapplication. More things happening in our backyard here in the city of South Haven is the Trailside 2 development and the progress that that's been making. Currently, Trailside 2 has 14 permits issued, with 4 more currently under review, and an initial planned unit development application has been filed for the upcoming phase of townhomes, which may include up to 32 more units. A second planned unit development has been applied for on Virginia Avenue. Currently, this planned unit development proposes 6 market rate homes, and it is located at 706 or 712 Virginia Avenue. And again, these are going to be market rate homes. So we have more than just the township. We have Van Buren County, the Lakeshore Habitat for Humanity, the Michigan Economic Development Association, Community Foundation, land banks such as the Dwelling Place, private developers, and our regional EDO, or Economic Development Organization of Market One. So combining our resources, we're in constant contact with these agencies, learning about opportunities that exist, opportunities for collaboration, and opportunities to bring more houses here to South Haven and Van Buren County. The next element I want to talk to you about is the Community Development Block Grant, which is facilitated through Michigan State Housing Development Authority. The best thing for housing is to keep people in their houses, and everyone knows that the most minor thing is very, very expensive to repair when something goes wrong these days. So the city's put an application in, which has been accepted by the Michigan State Housing Development Authority for the Community Development Block Grant funding in the sum of $400,000. This is for homeowner rehabilitation. This is also an income qualified program. So that 80% AMI threshold that I talked about earlier, that is that target. That or below is what someone will have to meet in order to qualify for these funds. So what can these funds be used for? Items such as roofing, siding, accessibility needs, energy efficiency, and general critical home repair. Still, we have to get through a couple more steps before this is made available widely for the citizens here in South Haven. We must receive and execute the final grant agreement, which we're waiting on the state for, bid out and award third-party services so we can best apply and perform the elements of this grant. And then we need to finalize our local application and program materials. So we anticipate a late winter or early spring first round of applications here within the city of South Haven. What is also great about this program is the Lakeshore Habitat for Humanity has also received $550,000 in funding. So this opens up the opportunity not only to the citizens here in South Haven to apply for these opportunities, but the township through the Lake Shores grant, which we will provide information and marketing material on and post on our website, make it available to people as soon as we have that information. When applying for these items, residents can apply for as little as $1,000 or up to $40,000, and that's from each agency. So continuing to incentivize development here within the city of South Haven, what are some possible incentives that we can offer or elements that we've talked about that we can learn a little bit more about? The first is the payment in lieu of taxes, or a PILOTS program. These are negotiated terms with the city of South Haven and the developer to help promote affordability, so payments in lieu of their tax bill. Another item would be the commercial rehabilitation tax incentives. This is something that can be offered at the local level, but it must include a level of business development, and 5 units for housing must be created with that development. And it also must be within a commercial rehabilitation zone. Director Brock gave you a great image of the DDA earlier. That is part of our commercial rehabilitation zone. That's one of them. The next would be our Brownfield tax incentive financing opportunities. Again, the City Brownfield Redevelopment Authority is very adamant about trying to work with people to bring housing here to the city. So potential developers out there, we invite you to come in, come sit, talk with us, talk with staff, see how we can get you in front of the board to learn more about opportunities that exist here. And lastly, to coincide with that is our EPA assessment grant. Currently, we can prepare property eligibility determinations for this grant, and the EPA will begin reviewing them once they return after the federal shutdown. So it's a little bit on pause, but we can still get the material organized so they can streamline it when it's back up and running. And those are just maps of our commercial rehabilitation districts where those tax incentives could be applied. So really, to conclude, there is no one-size-fits-all singular development that is going to solve this housing shortage overnight. So we have to pursue this in multiple avenues, and we have to pursue it aggressively. So incremental and consistent developments at all price points are going to help allow us to continue to have a healthy, safe, and diverse ecosystem of housing that is inviting to all persons coming to live in South Haven. that is what I have for you.
On the map of commercial rehab districts, it looks like, so it's in gray, is the district?
Correct.
It looks like it excludes Fruit, Humphrey Cable, Able, Cartwright, Spencer.
That's
Aylward.
correct. It does exclude it because it's got to have, it's a commercial rehab, so to be eligible for those districts, you have to have a commercial activity.
Oh, okay. So it's rehabbing housing, it's rehabbing housing commercial.
So the My Home or the CBDG funding that we have applied for the rehabbing of homes, that can apply to anybody in the city.
Okay,
This commercial rehab district is only for the commercial rehab tax abatement, and there can be some housing that's developed with that, but they still have to meet the underlying zoning, or the underlying commercial rehab district where there has to be a commercial on site.
okay, thank you. Any other? Go ahead.
Okay, so, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time because I'm ready to go, but, I don't want this to sound like a dumb question, but some of the, projects said MISTA funded. So I wanted to know, does that mean that it's low income to middle income? Or can you just help me with it? Because, well, just answer the question, then I can.
Yeah, so the MISTA funding, or the Michigan State Housing Development Authority funding, the term that coincides with it is low income. Generally, again, we're looking at that AMI status, or that Aryan median income, which is set at a state level to a county basis. So it just has to meet those thresholds. Historically, it's been called that, but it is the reflective of the 80% or 100% AMI. So.
Okay, so just one last statement, and then I'm going to be quiet. So I was looking at the table for the 80%. If a person made $56,000 and they had two persons, and I went down to the following table, and it looked like the rent would be like $1,500. That seems so unaffordable if I'm correct.
Yeah, so those tables are set by the state of Michigan. They're not governed by us here at the local unit. So those are state set. And that would be 80% of a two-person would be, looks like $1,390 based on that chart. And those can change every year. So if there's a change in the market, it's going to be reflective of that.
Okay, so I know I said I wasn't going to say anything else, but $1,400 just seems, and I know those are guidelines that are set by the state, and we know that we're trying to fill the housing crisis, especially for teachers and other middle-class employees here. So would we try to find something to help with the rent? And we saw that, I think Kate went with me, when we went up to St. Joe at the Emma Hall, where they offered teachers and other people that worked in the community that were middle class. And they gave them, I can't remember exactly what they called it. Anyways, they helped with their rent. So, for example, if it was $1,300, it might have went down to $1,100. So I was just wondering, were we looking for something to help? Because, again, $1,400, if that's a mother and a child, $1,400 is a lot.
Yeah, we can look at other opportunities out there and do some research in the program you're referencing. But as it relates to the just the Aryan median income thresholds, how much deviation from that a developer utilizes is going to be up to that developer. I'm not sure if it's really set in stone. So it just cannot exceed that, as far as I understand.
Okay.
Mary?
Yeah, towards that, I think those rents are tried to be set so that they're 30% or less of their total income. In this case, I did a quick calculation, it was 25%. So it does seem high, but affordability is generally 30% of your income. But those are great suggestions, trying to find ways to kind of build that bridge. The listening, or the engagement sessions for the Overton, the one on the 17th, I think you had said it starts at 5 PM, but it actually starts at 5:30.
If that's a typo, we'll get it fixed. Apologies.
And the 425 agreement with the the one on M140 by Senior Services. So from that, that's where the township took the property back. And
That is correct.
I thought that they were actually filing in the October. Do you know, did they make that deadline?
I do not believe they made that deadline, but I will confirm with the township. They may be going the April round.
Okay. And just for everybody's benefit, the Virginia PUD is actually in front of Planning Commission this Thursday. So yeah, that's very exciting that we're getting these other things going.
Joe?
Question, Michael. Of the 200-plus lots that are available in the city right now, and you said they're privately owned, what percentage, if any, are owned by the city?
4,
That's it.
just 4 lots.
So
No
then that brings me
percentage.
to the question, so the city doesn't have a lot of control, it's privately owned. We need housing and we need it badly now. What big idea can you or someone come up with in the city to change that, to take those lots? It just seems like such a waste to have over 200 lots sitting there, and we potentially could put in some of them duplexes, which is 2 families. And duplexes do bring the prices down even without Mishta. Is there any big idea that we can come up with to get this started? Like cutting hookup fees in half. Just one thought top of my head. But we've got to do something, because it seems like a stalemate. We've been talking about these lots and duplexes, and we're not getting anything done yet.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said the duplex's density as it relates to that. That's something that can always be done at a policy level. As for hookup fees and everything else, those are going to be really set by SHASA. I believe we're going to have an informational session coming up as what all goes into those fees and where that money goes and how that's determined. So as it relates to density and policymaking, definitely one of the great ways to help address that in the short run and make it a streamlined process the best we can. Though these are privately held, and that does make it challenging because we cannot spend their money for them.
But certain things like cutting hookup cost in half, taking their taking taxes for the first year, reducing those to get them started. Something that a contractor can look at and say, they want us. They want us more than a city down the road or a city up the road. We can't just do, the old adage, if you do tomorrow what you're doing today, you're going to get the same results. So what can we do? And maybe you don't have the answer now. I'm just challenging you. We got to do something different.
Wendy?
Just to add on to that too, I know previously we've talked about how some towns were doing like incentives for first-time homeowners, but also long-term rentals. And I think that would be worthwhile to look into as well. Kind of just incentivizing those things.
Any other questions? Okay, Michael, thank you so much. Great job.
That's a good idea.
What did you say? Moving on, we are now at public comment. Citizens in the audience will be heard on items not on the agenda, and you have up to 3 minutes.
Kent Brindley, 345 Bailey Avenue. There's just a reminder to get out the vote tomorrow. We will get out the vote on mayor and city council, get to know the issues, get to know the candidates, get to know what's important to you. Get a group together, come on down to City Hall. I believe the polls are 7 to 8. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, we're moving on to the city manager comments.
Thank you, Mayor. I did want to let the council know that Papa John's is opening up, I think, on the 19th, and they are offering a fundraiser for our police department and our fire department, I think, on the 22nd. I'll have a flyer to share out. Proceeds will be going to these entity. I'm not entirely sure of all the details, but we'll get that out to the city council. And we'll probably have some of our folks down there helping make pizzas, hopefully with some aprons on, because it gets a little dirty with all that flour. We've had a lot of construction projects going on, so I know that Dana gave a very exhaustive update last time at our last meeting, but we always have an updates going up on our city website. We are also still having the 9 a.m. Tailgate meetings at the Huron Street Pavilion. I know that's really, the Huron Street project is clicking along pretty quickly, so very happy to see those. Also, as we come closer to the end of November 15th, we'll limit the number of cuts that can be made into our streets because we want to get those filled. I know we have active restoration going on around the city. If you have anyone who's not gotten their restoration done, please have them contact me or Public Works so we can make sure that we're following up on restoration that's needed. Speaking of November 15th, that's when overnight parking restrictions start, so make sure you're not parking on the street between 2 a.m. and I think 6 a.m., but I could be wrong. But that's also the end of our golf cart season, so put your golf carts away and go park on the street. As Kent said, voting is tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Polls will be open. We'll have City Hall parking lot open to anyone who'd like to come down here and vote. And yes, we are working on a SHASA rates meeting for December 8th, and we'll be at the Integrated Learning Center at the high school. More information on that to come. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to mayor and council members' comments. Letitia.
No comment.
George.
I just want to thank Megan and all her volunteers tomorrow for their work on the election.
Joe.
I was going to say exactly what George said, but thank you, and thank all the volunteers. But I know you get up early and finish late, so thanks. I hope everyone votes, because this is our town, and people say they want change and they want different things. This is your time to be heard, so please vote.
Thank you. Mary?
Yeah, just thank you everyone who's come and writing in. As I mentioned, November 6th for Planning Commission, we've got a pretty full docket, so you'll definitely want to watch or come. Something fun for the history buff tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the Scott Club has U.S. soldiers sent to Russia during World War I for the Polar Bear Expedition. I want to thank Interim Chief DeBoer for coming to Ward 1 CAC. There were some questions about the break-ins. I know that there's some newspaper about it. It's been the cars, not homes, and it's usually unlocked. So please lock your doors to your cars. And also that prevents stealing the cars also. That's when they've been stolen. I want to thank Bishop Wilkins. I attended his church yesterday, Resurrection Life Ministries, and he spoke about purpose. And I think that goes well with elections tomorrow and what people, what are their purposes. And the sermon yesterday just reminded me of all the great volunteers that we have in our community and their dedicated purpose, and also people that I thought of today as we were talking about things going on in the park, like Andrea Hooker and everything that she has done for our children, and the program she did in Alkenburg Park, and Julie Shepard for what she does for the History Club, and they're going to be going into their next year where they will hopefully go to the 17th time for school. And also this week, South Haven Regional Business Hub, they have their pitch campaign at LMC on Thursday with all the great work that those volunteers do to help our up-and-coming new businesses, which employ our local people. And just, it's been enlightening to work with these people, and I'm just so thankful that we have such a great community.
Wendy?
No comment.
You mentioned the 9 a.m. tailgate updates. I did get a lot of feedback from downtown merchants over the weekend. They really love it. They say it's going great. Send that on to Dana.
Thank you.
Good luck to Megan, and thanks to all the volunteers. I hope everything goes smooth. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Yes, remember to vote tomorrow. Grab a friend, tell your friends, remind them to vote too. I also want to give a shout out to our soccer team. They are the 2025 state runner-ups for Division III boys soccer. They lost last weekend 4-1 against Detroit Country Day. They finally scored with less than 2 minutes on the clock by junior Jaden Bolheis, who lives right in the city. These boys played their hearts out this season. They went from being an unranked team to beating some of the top-ranked teams in our division. And they hadn't been to state finals for boys soccer since 2009. So the championship game might not have gone their way, but to the parents and to our city, we're so proud of them, and they are winners. So thank you. And if there's no further business, we're adjourned.